What's up, Craig? It's my cat. Okay. My name's Jesse Colaizzi. I'm a development producer and a director of photography and an editor. I'm shared between two companies, between One Louder Productions and Follow Productions. Some of the spots that I had cut that I think had a big impact on the rest of my life. The first one was a set of spots for a federal credit union based outside of Charlotte. They have offices here in Pittsburgh, though. It was called Clearview Federal Credit Union, and they came in asking for the impossible. They had a shoestring budget, and they had a calendar that we had to follow that was just a shoestring. We had one day to shoot in January in winter in Pittsburgh, and they wanted it to look like beautiful springtime, and it was outdoors. So the day that we had to shoot, first of all, there were two ads that day we had to shoot. We had to shoot one of the ads took place heavily outside in the backyard of this character's house. The other took place indoors. As a director and a producer, you're looking at all of the elements, the talent you have on set, and also, what's Mother Nature throwing at you. And according to WeatherBug that day, it was one of those days where it was like the United States and then like a big green line of just gooky, snowy rain coming straight towards us. We had about 45 minutes before the first drops were going to start falling. And we had to shoot an entire TV spot outside, number one. Number two, it was January 30th, shitty Pittsburgh, gray, no leaves on the tree, dead grass, and windy. And we had to make it look like it was April 30th, bustling bright green colors and new leaves on trees. And there was woods all around us and reflections in the windows. And I sat back and thought, well, I'm going to rely on my post-production technology and replace all the window reflections, replace the sky. I'm going to not show the ground because the ground looked like butt. And we shot this whole sequence with a painter outside of painting his addition, talking about how great it was that he got a home equity line of credit from Clearview Federal Credit Union. And the whole time, none of the trees were real. The whole background was fake. I had to cut out the sky. It was handheld, so we had to motion track the whole damn thing. Same with the window reflections. And so what the client ended up getting back from that was a commercial shot in 45 minutes, which never happens. And they had it shot on the time that they had needed to shoot it on, in the middle of dead-ass winter, and it looked like the first week of springtime. So another spot that I had taken on, it was a project right after that that was also one of those real testing spots, but way more fun, was a volunteer drive campaign that we shot for the Alpha Fire Company. They're based in State College, Pennsylvania. And this was one that came through a grant for them. They had money to spend on TV advertising. It came from the state, and the whole premise that we had come up with was that we wanted to show everyday people answering the call that a fireman calls, and to try to romanticize that moment when you're a physical trainer with a patient and suddenly your beeper goes off and now you're a fireman. Or you're a cello instructor on campus or a bass instructor on campus and your pager goes off and now you're a fireman. Or you're a security, NSA monitoring agent and your beeper goes off and now you're a fireman. And so we thought, let's take that glory, heroic, feel and let's work it into their spot. And so we actually cast real firemen from the Alpha Fire Company. We had a decent budget. We had 2 days on location to shoot with 5 different volunteers. And we had to produce an in-camera edit where basically as these firefighters were getting up. As they were getting up, they cut. It wasn't a morph. I insisted that we go balls and make it a cut, because if you can make a cut work, it's going to be way more awesome than like a morph, because anybody can make a morph happen. You hide all your sins in that little morph, where if it's a cut and it works, it's going to freaking work. And so we toiled on set. I brought an editing system with me to have next to the camera so we could pair up our shots to know if we had it. And we had to, measure out exactly where our firemen were going to go. And we did an in-camera practical effect where this person, be it a student who gets a call and has to leave their study table, as they're grabbing their bag, boom, the bag turns into the hoses and they are a fireman, all in one cut. And we were a little skeptical. We were a little worried because the other companies that had bid on the job insisted on doubling the budget and wanted to do all kinds of compositing and green screens and all kinds of stuff. And I said, let's just simplify it and do it 1960s style and see how it works out. And it ended up like surprising everybody. And it's still running in central Pennsylvania during football season and basketball season. And they've got a nice new crew of young recruits because of it. So that's really what makes me happy, is when there's a fire in State College, they've got fresh bodies coming in to get you. But don't just say no to fire. Anyway, so project number 3 that I like to talk about, that all of this has kind of led into where I am now. A number of years ago, I did a lot of industrial films for a very large pipe and tube manufacturer. They're based in Chicago, Illinois. And they needed a trade show video. They had shown me, when they approached me, they had shown me their competitions, trade show videos. And, honestly, that's like a really effective sales tool for companies. Video for the marketplace is one of those niches that you never see in the textbook. It's usually news or movies that you hear about when you're in school, and then you get out into the professional world and you realize there are so many other opportunities. And this was one that came out of the blue. People had turned their nose up and said, this is a boring project, or this is beneath me. And I was eager beaver. I was like ready to go, and I said, sign me up. And I bought that camera, and they sent me to 4 different plants, and I was on my own. We didn't have a script written. I basically had to spray the crap out of the places and come back and put some proxy files together and send them to a writer, and the writer was going to basically work with me, taking my judgment from someone who had eyes on the ground and was there looking at the process and what we had researched as far as this company goes, what they do and how they do it. We came together with this trade show video that would make your grandmother cry and want to buy a flagpole from this company, or a piece of, whatever, oil pipes. I mean, they make freaking pipes, and this video is like, made in America, yeah, and dudes with biceps and, sweaty guys and, sparks and, beautiful. It was actually, the plants were actually very beautiful, and I just went in and just like, I played the role of 5-year-old seeing something for the very first time, who had knowledge of how to like capture it with a camera, and came back with something that led to, I want to say, the corresponding return on investment with that campaign that they did was somewhere around $1.5 or $1.7 million. It was right when the fracking industry was just getting up and started in Pennsylvania. And I'm pretty proud that, I was able to, help. I contributed to their sales, but it also was a big jumping board for me in my career too, because it was something that most people would see that's a down and boring subject, and it was very exciting. And it was a very exciting video. It's 4 minutes, and it has probably 600 shots in it, and it's like, woo, sparks, woo, cooling pipes, woo, glowing metal, woo, this, woo, that. and muscles and grunts and sweat and tears and American flags and hard hats and high energy. And the final analysis says that it corresponded with a huge bump in sales for them. So great for them, but also it led to an amazing career in this world for me because it got me noticed.